Too hot for TV.
Welcome to the Doctor Who Too Hot for TV Festive Christmas Annual Advent Calendar. Hooray!
Hooray!
Every day this month I'm going to be joined by a brand new guest to talk about a brand new story from our brand new Doctor Who Annual. I say brand new, they're all from the past, none of them are brand new. And to kick things off, I'm going to do a first Doctor story from the first Doctor Who Annual. Who would have thunk it? But I need someone to talk to, so on the other end of a microphone, in a room probably about 6 miles away from me, is only Michael Mills, aka Michael Chills, because it's Christmas. Welcome, Michael.
Merry Christmas, Dylan.
Merry Christmas.
We get together every Christmas to talk about something from the 60s, don't we, these days?
Exactly. We're going to run out of something soon, aren't we? It's like, what other festive 60s stuff is there?
Nothing. We've literally done it all. We're not turning into Heartbeat. We've done we've done 4, which is more Christmases than were in the 1960s.
Yeah, very true. So, before we jump in, do Doctor Who annuals, Rupert the Bear annuals, Thunderbirds annuals, any sort of annuals play a part in your childhood or indeed your adult life?
Yes, every year I got given an annual for Christmas by the same relative, and every year that annual was the Score football annual, and I never read a single one. I don't know, there might have been crazy stories in there about what footballers get up to when they're not footballing on TV. I don't know. Bit more in my adult life, because they used to put old Doctor Who annuals onto Doctor Who DVDs, and if you put that DVD in your desktop computer, you could read slowly scans of an entire annual from 1964, and that was a thing that we all had enough time to do in the noughties.
Yeah, before everything went wild, you could just sit there for hours combing through the paperwork archive on your Doctor Who DVD. Now, I don't even have time to watch the extras or the episodes all in one go. I'm like, all I can squeeze in is 7 hours of an escape room, and that's it.
There are eras of Doctor Who that I've not watched more than once at this stage. Yeah. I think it's called Chris Chibnall.
How dare you? Get off the podcast. We'll leave the Chibnall bashing to whatever other podcasts you go on. But right here, right now, there's no Lady Doctors. In fact, there's only one Doctor Who, and that is William Hartnell. So we're doing the Lair of Zarbi Supremo from the 1966 Doctor Who annual, which came out in 1965. Now, what I'm able to say here is something that I won't be able to say in a lot of these episodes in the future, is that this was written by David Whittaker. We actually know who wrote the fucking thing. And it was illustrated by Walter Howarth. And as I said, this is the first ever Doctor Who annual. Have you read this annual or indeed this story before?
I have read this one. I have read this annual. It might be the only one that I've read cover to cover. I suspect it has given me an unrealistic expectation of what Doctor Who annuals are like.
I think you're right, because I've been recording these out of order, and I can say that this one is certainly a little bit more on brand and a little bit better written than a lot of the things to come. It's still a very simple story, but, you know, we'll get into it. I've never read this before. I had the first annual. In fact, I've got 2 copies of it for some reason. Again, car boot fairs when you're a kid, things like that. And, you know, very excited to receive it. And I tried to read it, and I was just like, I'm not reading this. Just looked at the pictures, because the pictures were pretty.
They are pretty pictures. Again, not something that would remain the case throughout the Doctor Who annuals. They're really pretty. William Hartnell looks better than William Hartnell looked in real life. The Zarbi tastes like real Zarbi.
Did you lick it?
I was tempted.
So, should we jump into the story?
Oh, please.
So, Doctor Who returns to Vortis. How exciting. Already we're on brand.
Yep.
And not only are we on brand, but the Doctor remembers to wear his atmospheric density jacket when leaving the TARDIS, as he did on his last visit here.
Oh, Doctor Who is excited to be back on Vortis, Dylan. Yeah. Quote, he drove home the last lever and with hands on the edges of the control panel, panted with excitement.
Dirty, dirty Doctor. So he straps on a radio to himself because there's some radio transmissions speaking in English out there on Vortis, and he steps out onto the planet's surface, And the planet has changed a lot since he was last here, right?
Yeah, he makes the point that he has landed on a different hemisphere of Vortis, a hemisphere with a bigger budget.
Yeah, but this is interesting stuff because David Whittaker's gone. I mean, of course, not all of Vortis is going to look the same.
No, it's not going to look like a couple of little mounds and some sand squeezed into the corner of a studio.
So the voice on the radio says, "Help, help, beware, Zarbi Supremo, war on Earth."
It's good, this, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a mystery. So he stares and looks out at the landscape, which is full of cone-like structures that look like dunces' hats. Is what they're described as, which don't know whether we'd use that as a description today, but there we go.
You know, like you see on The Thick Kids.
Yeah. So he looks out over the surface with his binoculars and follows the voice. Now, what's also interesting here is the Doctor is a hero. The Doctor's out there and he's like, I need to help these people. I need to sort them out, which is not something in the first series of Doctor Who, for instance, you get a lot. But by this point, the Doctor is established as a hero. Again, not something that necessarily happens in future annuals.
No, and it's good, isn't it? It's quite fun. I think I assume you're going to love every single annual story that you read over the coming 20-something days. But what I find glorious about them, what this kicks off, is there's no brand manager working on this. It's like it's different to the TV show. This feels more like the TV show than a lot of them do. But as you say, you can go, yeah, Doctor Who's a hero, because that's what kids understand, even at this stage, Doctor Who to be, right? Kids aren't going, oh, Doctor Who is an enigmatic figure whose loyalties cannot be relied on. They're going, he's Doctor Who, yay, he fights Daleks. And David Whittaker understands that.
He also understands that the Zarbi are loathsome creatures, because he seems to have forgotten that they were under the control of the Amonus last time, and he's gone, they are just loathsome, disgusting, evil creatures. He's got no time for a Zarbi, old Doctor Who. So he walks past some Zarbi soldiers marching around, and he finds a spaceship that's sort of got a door buried in the sand. He opens the door, he falls in, the door shuts, and he finds out the voice was a tape recorder.
Thrilling stuff, this, kids.
Where have we heard this trick before, David Whittaker, eh? Was it perhaps in The Rescue?
It is very The Rescue, isn't it? And there's a few bits about this story that feel a little bit prescient. There's also bits of it that are just him going, well, last time the kids aren't going to remember. Videotape's 20 years away.
Exactly. At this point, the way that spaceships described, the alien planets described, it's quite atmospheric.
Yeah.
It's simple, childish, but quite atmospheric. Like, I do feel I don't feel I'm on an alien world, but it paints a picture enough for me to go, I understand what this environment is, and I can see, especially to a kid, how you'd be a bit like, oh, this is exciting. And you can see sort of this dark, empty corridor with a tape recorder going and this alien landscape out the window.
Yeah, 100%. It's incredibly atmospheric. I think it's also that sort of, a lot of Doctor Who annual stories. We did Doctor Who and the Invasion from Space on a previous Christmas. And we said there that a lot of annual stories sort of end up feeling a bit like the Sensorites.
Yeah.
But this is like the Sensorites, but if you had the sense that it was actually going anywhere. You know, if after the end of the first episode of the Sensorites anything happened, then you're sort of in the right headspace for the Lair of Zarbi Supremo.
Absolutely. So in a room, the Doctor finds a young boy and a man who he quite clearly states is dead.
It's a horrific scene, really.
Yeah. This poor boy locked in a room with his dead dad. And this young boy is called George Hamilton, and he's from 20th century Earth.
And he has been driven insane by the things he has seen.
It's not quite the psychological thriller that you think it was, but he's been looking out the window, seeing a lot of weird shit. The dead man is bearded, but not old. And then the Doctor turns his attention to the dead man and decides, oh, he's not dead after all. He's just breathing really shallowly. Nobody says at any point during the story what happened to his dad to make him this way, but he looked dead. Doctor Who assumed he was so dead he didn't even bother to check on him for the first 5 minutes he was in the room. He had a chat with George about what's going on. So he's not dead, so they leave him behind.
The great joy of all of these stories is that they came out of the writer's brain, went into the typewriter, and went straight into the book without any pause or backwards look.
Exactly. So the kid sort of says, oh, but we're in the solar system. And Doctor Who goes, you're a fucking idiot, mate. You're on the planet Vortis, which is miles away from Earth. So, already there's some pretty big questions being asked. And at this point, I'm going, is this a mistake from somebody or is this a plot point? But it turns out it is a plot point.
100%. The biggest twist here is that there's a 1960s Doctor Who writer who knows what the solar system is.
Oh, yeah, the dad has said to the boy, the kid relays to the doctor, that the planet is a rogue planet near the moons of Jupiter. And it was driven into the solar system, they say at this point, but we will come back to that later. So the doctor and the kid leave, and they find some robot Zarbis.
What could be more exciting than a robot Zarbi?
I don't know, but what's inside your robot Zarbi?
Only a bloody Menoptera.
Dead Menopteras.
Dead, like moths on the windowsill.
Yeah, so the doctor tells young George Hamilton, who's seen a lot already, to just chuck away the body, get rid of it, and climb inside this highly advanced robotic thing.
Which presumably smells even worse of decay than the rocket ship that he was hiding in.
Exactly. So they get inside, and all of a sudden, radio messages float through the ether, and there's all the Zarbis around them, the thousands of Zarbis start moving and hurtling towards a huge mountain with a great black gaping hole.
Don't say it like that.
This is exciting stuff. I feel like I'm in, I don't know, Starship Troopers or something at this point.
Oh, it's amazing. He says, I can't think when I have ever been in this much danger. This is William Hartnell's Space Marine 2 at this stage. But this is good, right? This is what one of the things that's really charming about this is there's absolutely no sense of the web planet being any sort of sacred text. You know, it's absolutely just, oh yeah, that was a bit shit, wasn't it? A bit limited. But look, fucking thousands of the bastards. That's what ants do, right? There's lots of them. That's why they're scary. They're piloting planets around the place. Bloody hell, here's a robot one. Get inside.
And they're like, the doctor uses his metal pincers to grab onto George's Zarbi because otherwise they'll be crushed underneath the feet of all the other Zarbi. And they go into this mountain and there's engines and furnaces with Zarbi working all around them and Zarbi larvae. And Doctor Who wonders, is it possible that the Zarbi have created these spaceships? Turns out, yes.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. He's nailed it there. Fair play to him.
And then what do they find that is 200 to 300 feet?
The Zarbi Supremo.
Oh, the Zarbi Queen. And the Doctor thinks that there will be many queens around this place. Make of that what you will.
Zarbi Supremo, named for the Filipino revolutionary leader Andreas Bonifacio, the original Supremo.
Yes, of course. At this point, my notes simply say this is wonderful because it is. It's a big, weird little epic story. Big and little at the same time. I know that sounds like a contradiction.
It's bigger on the inside, isn't it, Dylan?
The potential of storytelling for Doctor Who. It's the indefinable magic hitting us in this first story.
This is it right here. I know I've got almost identical notes going. This is bloody good. You wouldn't have torn me away from the annual to go and blow out fire on a Christmas pudding.
Absolutely. I also think, what really helps this story, and future writers should have taken note, is it's 20-odd pages, whereas usually they're like 8 to 10. And 20 pages is the perfect length for a short story like this in the Doctor Who world, because it just makes a bit more sense. Not complete sense, but a bit more sense. And Whittaker's got time to world build and just make this story the most exciting it can possibly be.
Yeah. No, there is a kind of assumption that the kids, it's going to be worth the time to read it.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to get something. It's a little pocket battleship of a story. It's quite. I mean, in some ways, it seems bizarre, and it's the sort of thing that, once upon a time, fans would have just dismissed the annuals because, so you bring back the Zarbi, and suddenly they're galactic conquerors, and suddenly they've got a great big ruler, and suddenly they're going to invade the Earth. And Well, yes, but you saw the Daleks, and then you saw the Dalek invasion of Earth, didn't
Yeah.
you? And it's the same glow up.
Yeah, exactly. You've just got to do something. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, and in thousands of years' time, they become something else, because you can look at Earth's actual history and go, look what we were in the 1960s compared to what we were in 1066.
Yeah, no, I really, that was so refreshing when, like, so much, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, so much Doctor Who spin-off media it's death to the Daleks again.
Yeah.
And we go, we'll go back to Vortis, and somehow the Animus returns. But here it's no, bloody hell, bigger, always bigger.
So there are other prisoners in this place. There are human prisoners, there are Menoptera prisoners, but they've all got things around their necks that basically stop them from moving or talking or anything like that, which is the stuff what we see in the Web Planet, right? Those little controlling things.
Yeah, I think so. It's certainly the same idea, right? And I sort of like that idea that you sort of going, oh, well, I can't have the Animus again. But, there is this, not saying it's a deeply plotted, but there is a certain kind of internal logic to it. Oh, they were led by a huge external intelligence, maybe left to their own devices. They would evolve their own sort of central intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
That works. I like that.
Yeah. And the Menoptera, there's a Menoptera resisting the Zarbi, who again says that they've moved the planet. And there's the Zarbi's plan is they want the Menoptera to be their ambassadors to Earth, to speak to the humans, lull them into a false sense of security. Then the Zarbi would attack, but then Menoptera are having none of it. They say they'd rather die and there will be a war, and that Menoptera's killed.
Revolutions are brutal, Dylan.
That's it. They call the things a mandible. And the Doctor notices the mandibles are what's keeping everybody hypnotised. So the Doctor and Gordon sneak out and take the ones off the humans and then just tell them to mercilessly shoot and murder the Zarbi Supremo.
Yes, this story ends with when we did Doctor Who and the Invasion from Space, and we had a good old chuckle over the fact that the galaxy conquering artificial intelligence is destroyed with jelly.
Yeah.
Here, the evil alien intelligence is destroyed because Doctor Who tells the supporting characters to gun him down. Like, Whittaker almost gets as far as, like, describing them reloading and carrying on.
Yeah. As this is happening, this Zarbi are like, we're going to attack these motherfuckers, but they manage to kill it. And, I'm thinking of those moments in, like, Tremors where they kill a graboid or something like that, and it explodes and they're all covered in gunk. But the Zarbi suddenly are just like, oh, we've lost our controller, our queen, and they're just milling about and they're harmless again.
And in that moment, George Hamilton's little mind finally breaks.
He takes the blaster, puts it in his... No, that doesn't happen. They're milling about. The Doctor then releases the Menoptera. No one really explains what's wrong with Gordon's father, but the Doctor has agreed to ferry the Earthmen home. But there's time for a few more little plot twists and a little bit of confusion, because despite multiple people saying they piloted the planet here, the Doctor goes, I still don't know why the planet is in the solar system. It's like, you've been told at least 3 separate times, Doctor Who.
I do think there's some signs of early onset dementia here for Doctor Who, because there's also a line that says, the Zarbi Supremo, for that is what the Doctor had called him in his own mind. No, it's what you were told he was called earlier. You do remember, you do.
But one of the humans wants the engines that powered Vortis, wants the tech to profit from it. And the Menoptera are like, absolutely not. You can't have our engines. They're going to drive the planet away back to where it was and then seal them off so nobody can use them. And the Doctor agrees. The crewman draws his gun because he wants the tech. And then I don't really understand what happens. All the Menoptera fly upwards, taking the other humans and Doctor Who with them, apart from the one with the gun. Is that what happens?
Yeah, it gets a little bit vague. It's sort of, and they all lived happily ever after. I think the Menoptera give the Doctor a lift back to the TARDIS.
Yeah, but it's a little bit vague. So they just leave the man with the gun who wants the engines on the planet with the engines?
Yep.
Yeah.
Flawless.
But yeah, I can't see how that could possibly go wrong. Does this feel like a natural evolution for the Zarbi, this version?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a lot. It's fun. And it's exciting, which is something you could never accuse the Web Planet of being. And in terms of actually, doing something with the little bastards.
Mm.
It is good. I think there's an ambition to this early Doctor Who stuff. For all its earned reputation for not having the most tight plotting in the world. Every single one of the people writing it, is not giving any consideration for the constraints of the TV show.
Yeah.
And that's glorious. I don't get why people in Doctor Who are so obsessed with flying planets about the place.
I know, they bloody love it, don't they? Because it is the stupidest idea.
What would you do with it if you could?
What, a flying planet?
A flying planet? I mean, we're all sort of flying around,
Yeah.
Anyway. Like
More rotating, I'd say.
It's just quicker, faster. How quick? Like when you're a kid on the roundabout and you're just like, how quick can I get this to go?
Speed it up, and it's just like day, night. Ah!
And we go, whee! And that is how the human race perished.
No, yeah, it is an odd thing because if you don't have proper space travel, then it's actually really difficult you can get really near to other planets, but you still can't quite get to them, can you?
It's really annoying. You just shout at them as you go past. Oh, you Martian fuckers!
I really dislike the missing planets, even when they do it in the series 4 of New Who, when they're just like, we've taken all the planets. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And I feel like every single time I'm being slightly patronised by someone going, oh, we've moved a planet. And I just go, oh, yeah, okay, sure. No, I'm sure you can't just do that. I'm not a scientist, but I've heard of things called tides. I've heard of things like global warming.
But apparently it just made some milk bottles smash.
The terrifying results of the Daleks. I mean, we're not talking about that story, but this is no less. At least here, they're going to try and invade somewhere by doing it.
Yeah, very true. So, what do we think of the artwork within the annual, or within the story and beyond? I guess.
I mean, you're not going to hear this much in the coming days and weeks, but it's gorgeous. It's bloody lovely. It's got this really strong, rich, almost kind of like chiaroscuro effect, and yet there's something about it that is slightly childish, but in a really winning way. You could see it almost on the wall of a primary school, of a particularly talented child, and I mean that with the most love in the world.
Unlike a lot of the other annuals, it's full colour, but it's still limited in the use of which colours they use, probably for printing reasons. But that, again, it just gives it that childlike wonder. And there's some brilliant pictures of Doctor Who in his atmospheric density jacket and little George staring over the Zarbi, and then the Doctor peeking out the eye of one of the robot Zarbis. That's a brilliant image. Lovely picture of the Monoptera at the end, who just looks like such a happy, lovely chap.
And I guess you have to remember, if I assume everyone else's experience of these annuals is the same as mine as a kid, which is that you didn't sit there, open page 1, read page 1, page 2. You'd flick back and forth through, and these things were meant to grab your attention and get you to actually sit down and read the actual story itself. You can imagine flicking through this and going, Doctor Who is in a Zarbi?
Yeah.
What possible frolics could have led to this eventuality? I must read.
There's a childlike wonder to them. The images are beautiful. And it was a pleasure to read and experience this. It's Doctor Who, the space adventure of the 40s and 50s almost. If you'd said to me, I'd never seen Doctor Who, and you presented me with this, I'd go, oh, that's like a Sunday morning 1940s serial of some sort, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, the Sensorite points as well is because it does have that feel of British sci-fi of the mid-20th century where, the boys' own adventures just kept on going and the British Empire made it into space. And you know that the Hamiltons' space uniforms probably had peaked caps and things like that. Oh, it's lovely.
It is lovely. And I will at some point do some more stories out of this annual because I think this is one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add to it?
I mean, I think you're a mad fool with this endeavour. I must say, at this early stage, I mean, is it too late to stop you?
It is far too late, my friend. So I will look forward to seeing what other surprises, delights, wonders, and terrible things await me in future annual stories. But I'll be back tomorrow with a different guest and a different annual story. But until then, I've been Dylan.
I've been Michael.
And this has been Doctor Who Too Hot for TV, the festive Advent Calendar edition. Merry Christmas.
I'm gonna spend December with a Zarbi and kiss him underneath the Christmas tree. We'll hang up baubles with his mandibles and count up all the presents in his tree.
That was beautiful.
Everyone's doing a song, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All of them.
Doctor Who. Too hot for TV.
Incidentally, a happy Christmas to all of you at home.
They're not going, oh, he's a grumpy old man with wandering...
Hands?
I'll start again. I was going to say something like wandering morals, but that sounds bad.
Too hot for TV.
It's like when the 50th happened and there were 11 doctors and the anniversary was in November and all of the tie-in licensees collectively jizzed their pants and they all did the same thing of like, we'll do a Hartnell in January and we'll do a Troughton in February and all the way through. And they all sort of panicked in August when they got to McGann and they went, shit.
What do we do here?
Charlie Pollard! All the kids know her.
Yeah, and then I hear for the 60th they tried to add an extra couple of months to the year. Secret months. A war month, if you will. And then repeat October twice.
Very good. I see what you did there.
Yeah, but it wasn't to be.
Too hot for TV.